converting them anymore. Burke and James out of Chicago converted most of them. So we needed a Devy, so we ran an ad in the paper for a Devy camera, and we got a bite on our ad, so we phoned the guy up and we made a deal for the camera, and we converted it. Wes and I converted the camera. That was really an experience. Joe didn't think we could do it. We did it. And then, as I say, we also did, with that camera, we made the first strobe unit camera for night work, night photography. Put strobes in the night cameras for Joe. But the first ones we made, you had to have a whole box about this big, full of batteries to handle it.
And you kept it on the
sidewalk right beside you.
It was too heavy to carry around and take pictures.
But it worked good. It made some very good pictures.
Yep.
These night pictures in here were not taken with that camera.
You think those were with bulbs or what?
No, those were from the light from the
marquee.
For the marquees.
We used to buy, Joe would buy a roll of faster film than what we had. And then we would have that open lens camera, 1.2 camera, f1.2, and use that for night stuff. And you had to be careful when you printed it, though. It was
contrasted.
But that's why I say that guy in the film, I don't know if he had one, but if he did, I don't know where he got it. Burke and James may have loaned him one. They might have had an old model back there.
You never got it from Joe or you guys.
Well, in the movie industry, if they need to go out and buy a camera, they just go out and buy a camera. It's no more expensive than putting costumes on or anything else.
Yeah, that's right. Just part of the business.
Part of the expense,
yeah,
sure.
That's right.
So everybody had a uniform with cap?
No, we only had caps.
Caps, no uniforms, right.
Well, Joe expected you to wear shirt and tie.
Uh-huh.
You expected to wear shirt, and then in the wintertime you wore a coat. He wanted you dressed reasonably. He didn't want you looking like a bum out in the street. Because every once in a while, I forget who it was, one of the inspectors from San Francisco PD would come around and check on your license. And he wanted you to look reasonable.
Uh-huh, that was part of the deal.
Part of the deal. And part of the deal was that there was no hassle. Money was not the problem. If somebody bitched, they get the money back. I have a problem with it. That kept all the bums off of it. Because you had to put up a bond for each cameraman, $250 bond, I think at the time. But that kept, some guy just take a camera out there and shoot with no film in it, like he did. We saw that happen in Ogden. Some guys came through with a little Keystone movie camera. No film in the camera, no nothing.
Give your money and that's the last you ever see it.
Yeah, that's right. So,
now, did you have legitimate competition?
Yeah, we had Hessel Gesser had Action Photo, but Hess, he dropped out. Joe bought his licenses. He dropped out. Him and John Barleycorn got too friendly. He couldn't make it in the mornings, couldn't make it at night. He did nightclub photography for a while during the war. I don't know why they would allow nightclub photography, but they would allow street photography. And all the sailors and everybody would down.
Well, you're on private property once you're in the nightclub. If the owner of the club lets you in, then you're okay.
Yeah, but still they got pictures of all of Califanator on the soldiers.
Yeah.
And if they wanted to, they could have closed it up, I think. They never touched it. But anyway, Hessel Gesser did that. He made some big bucks there. He had I don't know, the Iron Pot, 4 or 5 other places in the international settlement. But street photography, he couldn't make it. He got into the bottle too much.
This guy's name was Hessel Gesser.
Hessel Gesser.
Hessel Gesser.
That's all the last name. Yeah. German. H-E-S-S-E-L.
Yeah, he was a crowd.
G-A-S-S-E-R.
Yeah. Hessel Gesser.
can't remember what that means. It probably means something.
Yeah. Well, I can't remember either. Action photo. He did street photography. He had 4 cameras. But finally it got pretty bad. He was not developing his film. He wasn't printing it, you know. So Joe went up there, made it all good. Got the licenses. So he was sole proprietor in San Francisco. He had a monopoly. They only allowed so many licenses, and Joe had them all. So it worked out. Everything changes, and that's one of the changes. No more.
So you had some stuff for fun in the office that just because it was either somebody famous or something funny.
Yeah, yeah.
And you'd blow them up bigger than the postcard size.
Yeah, well, you could get, on reorders, you could get 2 pictures and 1 5x7 for $1. On reorders. You get the 5x7 on reorders. We never did 5x7s originally.
Right.
Get those on reorders. And we used to put those up mostly.
And the cheapest they ever were in the early days was 50 cents or
25.
20. It started at 25 and then it moved up to 50.
Yeah, 25. But that was when we used to shoot. Well, I wasn't doing it then. They used to shoot a roll of film a day. Guys got, I don't know, $5 a day for a roll of film. And they would hand out the cards. And then they mail them in with a quarter. Get the picture back. Quit after a while, though. One day they had, you know, the envelopes where you post prepaid postage. So somebody collected all, they got a whole bunch of them and dumped them all over the street out there. And they pick them up. And so the street department went and picked them all up and dumped them in a mailbox. So that stopped that for a while. All kinds of things happen in this world.
Yeah.
50 cents and $1.
You have any idea of when those changes happened? What years roughly?
Well, $1 started about 1946.
Oh, that's early. Okay.
46, 47 was $1. Up until then, during the World's Fair, 1939 was 50 cents. Before that, it was 25, I think. When Joe was in Seattle, it was 25. But then they used to proof them. I don't know if they told you about proofing them. Well, I used to go to Long's drugstore or Walgreens drugstore or something like that, see, and they would say, we can bring a lot of people in the store to see their picture. We'd like to get a space back here to put it. And they would get a space, you know, a table and a magnifying glass, and somebody would sit there, and they would come in with a card, a number, and they had, you know, printed just like you did, a little thing. Look at them under a magnifying glass. If they wanted, they'd buy it. You go to Walgreens, and that worked good. And it was surprising how many people come in and look at their picture. Walgreens liked it. They got foot traffic.
Sure.
And that was proofing. I don't know how long that lasted. Don't ask me. They did that in Seattle. He did that in Seattle. But they never did that in San Francisco. They did that in Seattle, I think. So, proofing.
Now, this was Joe operating in Seattle?
Yeah, he operated in Seattle first.
Okay.
He had a Seattle and Portland. And he didn't like Seattle at all. He wanted to come to San Francisco. So he sold Seattle out. I saw all the receipts. We had the receipts one time for the business and everything. He sold it out. And then he came down to San Francisco. He was a barber here for a while. He worked with my father in a flood building barbershop, believe it or not. My father remembered him. And then he finally got enough money, got a camera. And, started shooting himself. Made enough money to get another one. And I think when the World's Fair came along, he was over in the World's Fair in 1939. And he had 4 cameras over there, 4 guys. Duke Rose went to work for him then. And Duke was selling Presto cookers and Cresses. Presto cooker, selling Presto, and he quit Cresses and went to work for Joe at $5 a day. He'd make $5 flat out. I'm thinking about it. That was good money.
Sure.
30. So that, and then, you know, as I say, they closed him down. Then we started after the war. Then Duke was the one that started collecting on the street. And then we just all started doing that. That was the easiest way to do it. Then it peaked, I don't know when it peaked, but it peaked, I guess, late 50s, early 60s.
So you were already acquainted with him when the Payco installation
Yeah, I installed the Payco, yeah.
happened.
Yeah, I installed that thing.
I thought maybe that's where you first met. That's just where you first had your
No, I'd met
words.
him before that. I wasn't working for him. I don't know what I was doing. I was 5220 Club. I wasn't interested in working then. You remember the 5220 Club?
No.
Oh,
Veterans got $20 a week for 52 weeks after they got out of the service.
Okay.
And I thought the 5220 Club was very inviting, so I went and joined that.
Uh-huh.
I can remember. What did that gal say?
So the price was at $1 for a heck of a long time, even up into the 60s, because
Oh, yeah, it was
he was
$1.
still doing business in the 70s.
Yeah, still
for
$1.
Still for $1.
But
Wow.
he used to, that's what the card said. A lot of times you get $1 from each one.
Uh-huh.
You get $5. I got $5 a lot of times. Just hand each one a card to fill in. Get $1 from each one of them.
Uh-huh.
That was easy. That was good.
Yeah, well, you're filling 4 or 5 orders. It's just all off of one shot.
Yeah. Yeah. We didn't, that way, didn't waste film either. Well, what we pay, I never remember how much we paid for film, but as you say, I figured it out one thing. Get a print out of the office cost about 10 cents, I think. By the time you figured the chemicals, the rent,
Right.
what were we getting? 10 or 12 cents for get a print out of the office.
Now, what about people that were not happy to be photographed? Anybody get mad?
Oh yeah.
How did you deal with that?
Take the camera off first thing. Tell them go. I had it happen 4 or 5 times. Never go.
What do you mean, take the camera off?
Take the camera off and set it down and get ready to fight.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Don't
Okay.
want to hurt the camera.
Right.
We'll
Yeah.
protect the camera. Then we'll worry about the rest of it later. Yeah, up the fair it happened twice, State Fair. One day some guy says, "Shove it up your ass." I says, "Bend over." I thought we were going to go on that one, but
Calm down.
all noise and no production. No, Wes is the only one that really ever had problems, and we know of physical problems. You used to get some, lip, but who cared? You got to get used to those kind of things out there. People don't bother you, generally speaking.
Well, today people are a little bit fussier about their privacy for some reason. I don't know why, but
Well, yeah, but
I have to be careful when I'm out taking pictures.
there's no privacy in the public streets.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, there's none, you cannot expect it.
Right.
It's well known. They expect that, they stay off the street. I don't know how many people we photographed, that
oh.
were not supposed to be photographed together.
Sure.
But it happens, but no, those people would not say anything. They didn't want to attract any more attention than is already given.
Right.
It just usually the ones that were beef were some men, individual men or something. So, and every once in a while you get a guy that's going to be a hero to his girlfriend or something like that. But, generally speaking, if they weren't supposed to be photographed, they wouldn't say anything to you. They didn't want you to remember them.
Yeah. What about guys together and stuff like that?
It's all right. They paid. That was all. That was it.
No embarrassment, no nothing.
Didn't bother me. Their money is as good as anybody's.
Right? No, I mean they weren't embarrassed about being captured
hell
together.
no, no. Not in San Francisco. It might have been different.
Yeah, somewhere else.
It might have been different in Bogalusa, Louisiana, or somewhere like that. Not in San Francisco. No, we had that famous nightclub anyway. Finocchio's?
Don't know Pinocchio's.
Yeah, Finocchio's. That was.
Oh, Finocchio's.
Finocchio's. Yeah, that was a homosexual nightclub. Yeah. And look at Castro Street, where we were born. We were raised on Castro, Market. So it was pretty much. San Francisco has always been a relatively liberal town anyway.
Right.
It was born that way.
So could you hang around Finocchio's on purpose and do business?
No.
Can offer you water, anything?
No, thank you.
Good.
Thank you.
No, we never. No, we'd stay away from there. We had them back there in Utah. We ran into them. We had some Utah, the United Nations Club back there. They knew us from. They knew Wes from San Francisco. But other than that, we never bothered with it. We took a lot of their pictures. They wanted them for send ahead for advertisement. But that one that would dress up like a woman, boy, you couldn't tell the difference.
Yeah.
It was intriguing. One morning he came into the restaurant beat up pretty bad. Got involved with the wrong guy back there in Utah. We were in Darwin in Australia. And when you're in Darwin, you're at the end of the world.
And that's way up north.
So we go to this nightclub, see? And here comes these gals out there, and I couldn't tell. And they were putting on one hell of an act. And one of them come out and looked like she was pregnant. She goes, "Oh, it's time." And she runs back behind here, pop. And she comes out carrying this little colored doll. What do you think of my pickaninny?
And we hadn't heard that term in years. They're about 20 years behind us then.
And then we find out they're all homeless. And it was fun. They put on. The Australians didn't have any idea what they were talking about. The flight of the moon. So the guy at the table next to us, they didn't know anything about what they were doing. And we were laughing.
We were laughing so hard.
Oh, they were funny. And you never expect to see them, when an act
Not
up
there.
way up there. And they were class. They were not, it was really a class act they put on up there.
First class show.
Yeah. Well, they had gambling up there. And they were trying to develop gambling up there to bring the Orientals in. They were building a big airport there.
When was this?
This was in Darwin, in Australia. They wanted to bring the Orientals over there to gamble.
When you were there in the service?
No, we went over there as tourists.
As tourists, okay.
Yeah, about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
They're having a hell of a time over there now, though.
They have a big drought. They have a eucalyptus tree there that's white.
Ghost town.
And it's gorgeous. And there's not too many of them. And they're all dying now from lack of water.
She was there a long time.
Yeah, we still correspond with some people we met while we were there.
No kidding.
Yeah, we climbed Ayers Rock and came down, and the bus was waiting for us, and we sat next to them and got to talking, and they came and they spent 3 months with us. We toured them all through all our western states, and we still correspond with them.
So you got into the law enforcement business after you parted company with
Yeah.
Joe commercially, because he
Yeah.
was more or less out of business,
Yeah.
and that's when that happened.
Oh, you had the pet shop.
Let me think. What else should I ask while I got you here?
Well, when I went in law enforcement, also, I used to work Sundays at the Cliff House. I'd go out there every once in a while, like 2 or 3 times a month. Because when we went working for sheriff's office over there, we was not making enough money.
So that was a decent supplement just to go out and take
Oh,
pictures
yeah,
on a Sunday.
That's right, yeah.
Well, you found I guess it was your place, so you didn't have to go looking for it, but
No.
you're far enough out not to be among all the heavy traffic of Sausalito.
Oh, yeah.
You can't stir that with a stick, I don't think.
Yeah, you can, yeah. We can go up there, you can drive up, park in front of the post office, or you can go to the store and park in front.
Yeah, no parking meters.
Yeah, and they keep, I'm beginning to learn about the politics there. Working in the sheriff's office, you learn a lot of things.
Well, we live right on the lake,
Uh-huh.
and it's just our road we live on is, would you say a mile? No,
About half a mile.
half a mile. And there's, how many? About a dozen houses?
Yeah.
And only about 4 of us live there all year long.
Wow.
Yeah, well. No street lights, no sidewalks.
So when it was in your family, you were just there in the
Yeah,
summer.
my father bought the land when I was a little kid, and it was a place to get away.
Yeah.
And he built a little summer house, and he was going to move there. He thought about it, but he just couldn't leave the city. But I inherited, and we moved there. We love it. It was a summer place and a weekend place.
But you winterized it, and now it's in and out. You don't get snowed in or anything.
No, it's rare. I think we had snow up there when they got snowed in for the 21 days. That was,
About 30 years ago.
yeah. So, but now, we had snow the other day, but it was at night, and you can't take really a good picture at night. So we thought, oh, I'll take it in the morning. It was all gone in the morning.
Yeah. Your boat?
Yeah, we got a boat.
A pier, a boat.
In fact, I got 2 boats. I got one for the lakes, and we go up Sierra City, and the High Sierras, and trout fish up there.
Uh-huh.
We troll in the lakes.
Now the secrets come out.
There's no secret.
Yeah. No, that's great.
Well, we used to go up there more than we do now. One of my friends used to live up there, and he died up there. We used to go fishing with him a lot.
Yeah.
And then the trailer park we stayed in up there changed hands.
We had a little travel trailer, and everybody in the travel trailer came every year and spent the summer, and we knew everybody. And this one guy had every Friday he'd have a big barbecue dinner. Everybody bring something, and it was all the neighbors that lived there permanently, as well as all the people that just came in the summertime to the trailer park. We knew everybody. Everybody knew everybody else. We had a good time. Some of them they'd go up and dredge for gold.
Wow.
One guy had a gold mine up in the hills somewhere, we don't know where. And he'd get gold out of there. I mean, he'd show us a nugget once in a while.
No kidding.
That's where she got that nugget.
Wow, look at that.
Mm-hmm. He's got a nugget too.
Uh-huh. So do they assay that, or how do you know?
How come we know it's gold?
Yeah.
Well, everybody up there knows everybody else.
That looks like enough gold to be $1,000.
No.
Well, that's pretty close to $1,000.
You think so? Wow.
With a necklace. The necklace is 24 karat too.
Okay.
It's $1,000 in trouble.
Well, some of the people that live up there all year, they go down and pan for gold in the stream right after a very bad rain where all the rocks get washed down.
Yeah, it
And they go
exposes
down
some
there
new
and look
stuff.
for gold, and that's how we bought this one when the fellas that lived up there did that.
Yeah, there's a guy up there who was a dealer. And, he buy it from all these guys. Well, a lot of those guys come up there and they pan gold during the summer. And then during the winter, they'd all quit going welfare all year. So they didn't have a job, so why not? And then there was no records of the gold being sold.
Right.
Sort of a kind of business that's underground.
That's right.
There's an underground business up there in gold.
Yeah.
We get away with that in all these little tiny communities.
Well, nobody really knows the magnitude of the underground economy in general. You know, it's probably much larger than anybody realizes.
I know it in our town where we're living now in Lake County, it's immense.
Yeah, people trading and bartering and doing just swap. Yeah, I'll do this for that. And,
Yeah, oh yeah. Uh-huh.
and it's all off the tax rolls and off of everything.
It's all off licensed, non-licensed contractors. They do the biggest volume of business up there.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if the underground economy is as large in America as the above-ground economy when you really add up all the little bits and pieces.
I think every bit. I mean, it doesn't bother me at all to think that.
Yeah, no, it doesn't bother me either.
Well, I mean, that's the way the world goes round. Been going around that way for ever since government invented taxes. People have invented ways to get around it.
Sure.
So it's going to keep going that way. It doesn't bother me either. And sometimes I think we can spend it better than the politicians.
I agree there too.
You know, we got this thing on the ballot this year. We'll let those Indians down there in Southern California have more slot machines. Well, they got big ads on television against it, but do you know where the money's coming from? It's coming out of Nevada.
You know, Nevada's...
Las Vegas sure as hell doesn't want all that competition down there in LA when they don't have to drive across the desert to get to Las Vegas.
Uh-huh.
And it says one Las Vegas gambling casino over there is spending money to defeat this proposition. Yeah, well, that can be true, but every other gambling casino in Las Vegas has given this gambling casino the money to ship to California for them. And so it doesn't look that bad.
Right.
Well, we used to go to Reno, this is years ago, and they'd have big shows, big dinner shows, fantastic, Red Skelton and all those. And now that we have Indian gambling in California, the shows are down to nothing. They don't even have them now.
They ain't got money like they did. Well, I hope it passes. I'd like to see the money kept in California. Then we have the religious element that doesn't want any gambling, so I don't know.
Oh, you know, being something of an amateur photographer, I always am taking pictures everywhere I go. But the one place where they are really, really strict about no picture taken is you go into a casino.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, they're watching out for a lot of different things.
Oh, yeah.
But one of the things they see
Yeah.
is you pull out a camera.
Oh, yeah. Well, they got eyes in the sky all over the place, yeah.
Yeah. And I think the only reason behind it is they don't want to embarrass the customers.
That's right. Yeah.
They don't want the customers to feel inhibited.
Yeah.
Well, now they got those pinhole cameras. You can go in there and convene your glasses. Take all the pictures you want.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you another place you don't want any pictures. Is that's in the cathedral, the LDS church in
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Salt Lake City.
Yeah.
But, you know, you just put a pair of glasses on like this. It's the same as that run around the rock for the Saudis there in Riyadh or wherever they have all that thing once a year. You're not supposed to have any photographs of that.
Right. The pilgrimage.
Yeah. But, you know, I've seen some real good photographs taken of those little lenses. You can't tell. And they digitally enhance them, and they, you know, they're not grainy or anything. I expect them to go on.